Hi Ritika, it's great to see you again. How have you been since our last session?
Hi, Dr. Sakshi. It's been up and down, but I've been trying to use that thought record we talked about. It was hard at first, but I think it helped me see things more clearly.
I'm really glad to hear you gave it a try. It's completely normal for it to feel a bit challenging in the beginning. We'll take it step by step. Why don't we start by looking at your thought record? You can walk me through one or two situations you recorded, and we'll work on them together.
Sure, I wrote down one that happened at work. I was in a team meeting, and my manager asked for updates. I hadn't made much progress on my tasks, and I started thinking, I'm not capable of handling this. It really got to me.
That's a good example to work with. Let's break it down like we did last time. So, the situation was being in the meeting and feeling unprepared. What were the automatic thoughts that came up for you in that moment?
The main thought was, I'm not capable. I also kept thinking, everyone's going to see that I'm not good enough.
Those are really strong, negative thoughts. And how did thinking that way make you feel in the moment?
I felt anxious, embarrassed, and honestly, kind of ashamed. I kept worrying about what my colleagues would think of me.
I can see how those thoughts would lead to feelings of anxiety and shame. Did you notice how those feelings influenced your behavior?
Yeah, I stayed quiet for most of the meeting. I didn't ask any questions or contribute because I felt like I'd just make things worse. I left the meeting feeling defeated.
It's really insightful that you noticed how your thoughts affected not only your feelings but also how you acted. Now, let's challenge those thoughts. First, with the thought, I'm not capable, what evidence do you have that supports it?
Well, I didn't get much done on my tasks, and I've been struggling to keep up with my workload lately. That feels like I'm not capable.
Okay, so there's some truth in the fact that you've had a hard time recently with your workload. But does that mean you are not capable overall, or could it be that this is just a difficult period for you?
I guess it's more about this period. I used to manage fine before all of this started. Maybe I'm not incapable, I'm just going through a tough time.
Exactly. It's really important to separate temporary struggles from your overall abilities. What about the thought that everyone's going to see you are not good enough? What evidence do you have that your colleagues were actually judging you that way?
Honestly, no one said anything about it. I guess that was just me assuming what they were thinking. They didn't seem to react badly at all.
That's really insightful, Ritika. Sometimes, when we are feeling down, we assume others are thinking negatively about us, but in reality, they may not be. What's a more balanced thought you could replace that with?
Maybe instead of everyone's judging me, I could think, they didn't say anything, and I'm doing the best I can right now.
That's a much more balanced way of looking at it. How do you feel when you think about it that way?
I feel less anxious, like maybe it's not as big of a deal as I made it out to be in my head.
Exactly. These negative thoughts can make situations feel more overwhelming than they really are. By challenging them, we can reduce the emotional impact. You've done great work on this example. Did you have any other situations you wanted to go over from the thought record?
There was another one, but it's kind of similar. I keep having these thoughts at work, like I'm not good enough, and I can't keep up.
It sounds like that's a recurring theme for you. That's actually helpful to notice, because we can focus on challenging that specific thought pattern as it comes up. One thing we'll do is create a list of evidence that counters that thought, so you can refer to it whenever those doubts come up. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that would help. I think it's hard to remember positive things in the moment.
That's completely understandable. So let's start by listing some evidence from the past that shows you are capable, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. Can you think of a time when you handled a difficult situation at work?
There was a project a few months ago where I had to take the lead, and it went really well. My manager even complimented me on how I managed the team.
That's a great example. Anything else?
I've also been good at coming up with creative solutions when we're stuck on ideas. I've been known for that in my department.
Wonderful. Those are solid examples of your abilities. So when the thought, I'm not capable, comes up, you can challenge it by reminding yourself of these specific moments where you've been successful. How does that feel?
It feels reassuring. It helps to have actual proof that I'm not a complete failure.
I'm really glad to hear that. This is what we'll keep working on, identifying these automatic negative thoughts, challenging them with evidence, and coming up with more balanced alternatives. Over time, this will help shift your thinking patterns. For now, how do you feel about continuing with the thought record this week and adding in this list of counter evidence?
I feel good about it. I think having that list will help me when I start doubting myself.
That's a great plan. We'll continue practicing this, and I'm here to support you every step of the way. Is there anything else on your mind today before we wrap up?
No, I think this was really helpful. I feel like I'm starting to understand how I can change these thoughts.
I'm glad to hear that, Ritika. You are making great progress. I'll see you next week, and we'll continue building on this. Take care.
Thanks, Dr. Sakshi. See you next week.